is the Planet Earth Rock and Roll Orchestra? Even if you asked two different members of that loose affiliation of musicians what it was, they would disagree. For instance, David Crosby, who was a crucial member of that group, gave me a definition that was somewhat different from Paul Kantner, who was also a member of that group. So what I want to say is I'm not giving you the authoritative, definitive, necessarily definition of what the Planet Earth Rock and Roll Orchestra is. I'm giving you my version of this glorious history, which is a little bit bigger than some people's. And a lot of deadheads know about the so-called PERRO tapes. My vision of what that group was is actually somewhat larger than what was going on those tapes. I think of those tapes as somewhat not even necessarily the best material that they did. And we're going to be hearing some very, very rare music tonight, beyond what's in that collection of tapes. Sorry. Yes. And so some of the things that you will hear tonight have virtually never been heard in public, which is nice. It's such beautiful music. And I want to dedicate this talk to two people. One, Paul Kantner, without whom this music would not exist, and who I had the pleasure of interviewing a couple of times and smoking a joint with. In fact, one time at Newark Airport, I ran into Paul and Mickey Hart of the Grateful Dead. Spontaneously, Paul was, of course, vaping. We went to TGI Fridays and ended up talking about this music. And in the middle of our talk, Paul looked at me and he said, "How do you know so much about this?" And well, I'm obsessed. Take my hand. But the other person who I want to dedicate this talk to was one of my very first best friends, a guy named Mark Kobus, who was certainly the first artist my age who I ever met. And when we were in 9th grade, he gave me like the best birthday present I'd ever gotten, which was a huge box full of stuff he thought I would find interesting. So, like beautiful shells, like rocks, like leaves, and the album Blows Against the Empire. And that album, I open it up, I see a beautiful drawing of Paul Kantner with pot leaf hair, and I thought, who is this guy? Who are these people? And that album led me on to other albums like David Crosby's If I Can Only Remember My Name. And the really kind of interesting thing is that I ended up becoming friends with David Crosby in part because I heard something in his music that really spoke to my soul. And we ended up becoming really good friends. So 2 days ago, he happened to be in town for Thanksgiving, actually. And he invited me to breakfast at the Fairmont Hotel. And I got to ask him a bunch of fresh questions about this music. So one of the things that you'll be hearing tonight is a bunch of quotes from the people who were in this amazing group of musicians. And many of these quotes have never been published before, because some of them were given to me by Dave the other day, some of them were given to me by Dave a long time ago, and then I just found a very long interview with Paul Kantner that I did in the 90s that was never published by the magazine I sent it to, Relics, and I thought it was lost, and then I found it the other day, and it proved to be a gold mine of information about this music. So this is my version of the Planet Earth Rock and Roll Orchestra. My version of the creation myth of the Planet Earth Rock and Roll Orchestra begins in a library in Carpinteria, east of Santa Barbara, in the late 1950s. There, a librarian recommended that a young troublemaker named David Crosby, who was eventually kicked out of several schools, despite the fact that he was the son of the award-winning cinematographer Floyd Crosby, whose career ran the gamut from High Noon to Attack of the Grab Monsters, start reading one of the books in a series for young adults by science fiction author Robert Heinlein. Meanwhile, here in the Bay Area, another young troublemaker named Paul Kantner was also being led astray by the science fiction of Robert Heinlein and C.S. Lewis's Narnia, which he discovered himself because science fiction books were stored on the lower shelves of the library at his Jesuit military school, and he was a short kid. Paul's father, a strict authoritarian in the German style, when Paul's mother died when he was just 8 years old, his father forbade him from going to the funeral, sending him to the circus instead. Science fiction became a way for Paul to escape the confines of his surroundings and to dream up new forms of rebellion. The other thing that David and Paul shared when they got older was a belief that music could change the world and be an uplifting force for entire communities. When David was 3 or 4, his mother took him to see a free symphony concert in the park. Quote, "The first thing I remember was being completely overwhelmed by the size and beauty of the voice of the orchestra, which broke over me like a wave," he told me. "I remember noticing that all the little arms were moving together, and I realized that the reason the music sounded so big was that they were all playing it together. Since then, I've always wanted to make music with other people where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts." Because both David and Paul became fans of a folk group called the Weavers, which featured Pete Seeger among others, and sang labor songs and gospel, as well as blues and traditional ballads. During the so-called Red Scare, the Weavers were branded as communists, placed under FBI surveillance, blacklisted from TV and radio, and dropped by Decca, their record label. By the way, if you want to find out more about the Weavers, which is a fascinating story, a friend of mine named Jesse Jarnow just published a couple weeks ago a fantastic book about them called Wasn't That a Time? Very relevant reading for now. In 1995, Paul told me, "Mostly what I contributed to the Jefferson Airplane was the Weaver's ethic, having a sense of social responsibility and playing benefits, moving crowds of people, as well as just fucking off and having a good time." Both David and Paul hit the coffee house circuit, playing the same clubs as other socially conscious folk musicians like Odetta and Melvina Reynolds. In the early 60s, the bargain plane fare from San Francisco to Los Angeles was $12, so musicians circulated easily between the two scenes, and there was a lot of cross-pollination going on. David and Paul met on the road and became fast friends, in part because they recognized in each other a shared hatred for authority. In the years before forming the Byrds with Roger McGuinn and Gene Clark, David and Paul and David Freiberg, who would eventually become a founding member of the Quicksilver Messenger Service, formed a collective household with other musicians and freaks in Venice, near LA, inspired by aspects of Heinlein's just published novel, Stranger in a Strange Land. In many ways, this household, with its group money bowl on the mantle and its unusually relaxed attitude towards sex, anticipated the communal households that would soon start sprouting up all over the Haight-Ashbury. It's no accident that David's ode to a menage a trois triad, which was passed over by the Byrds to their 5th album, The Notorious Byrd Brothers, but subsequently recorded by Jefferson Airplane, included a line about sister lovers and water brothers, a reference to the polyamorous family units in Stranger in a Strange Land. The dream was extended family, David told me. We thought it was possible to transcend the monogamous kind of 2x2 relationship and go way further with it, across sex barriers, across number barriers, make love to who you wanted to, in whatever numbers pleased you, and in whatever combinations pleased you. By the mid-60s, a new scene started sprouting up in and around the Bay Area, particularly in the South Bay, of people who thought of themselves as kind of post-beatniks because the word hippies hadn't been invented yet. They smoked pot, they loved the writing of Jack Kerouac and Allen Ginsberg, they spent stoned hours talking about big ideas, and if they were musicians, they started opening their own clubs so people like them had more places to play. In the wake of the Beatles, they also shed some of the folk scene's ideas about tradition and purity and embraced electric instruments and the rhythms of rock and roll. And in the wake of Dylan, they began writing their own original lyrics. Down around Palo Alto, a jug band called Mother Mercury's Uptown Jug Champions eventually became an R&B band called the Warlocks, and eventually, with the help of an interesting new drug being tested in Stanford called LSD, morphed into the Grateful Dead. Paul spent the whole night of his first passing trip laying in his Volkswagen with the sunroof rolled back, gazing up at the stars. He told me he felt already prepared for that experience by reading science fiction as a kid. At San Jose State, Paul started hanging out with Yorba, then known as Jerry Piconin, who was playing in coffee houses with a young singer from Texas named Janis Joplin, and coming up to San Francisco to what was very possibly the first proper hippie household in the city, at least in the fashion sense. The apartment was on Noe Street, on a hill above the Castro, and was the home of a dealer who called herself Chloe Unknowy, and lived with a guy named George Ferguson, who would become the keyboardist for the Charlatans, the band that helped introduce the so-called San Francisco sound to the world, and ornate and Edwardian fashions and furnishings to the post-beatniks moving into cheap apartments in the Haight-Ashbury and the Western Addition. Meanwhile, Crosby was busy getting himself kicked out of the Birds, who weren't interested in the new material he was writing, like Lady Friend and Triad, which seemed too weird. Quote, "The reasons I left were multifold," he explained. A, I wanted more of Me and the Birds, and Lady Friend is a perfect example of why. B, I had already discovered cocaine, and that didn't help. And C, we had a manager who helped the other guys convince themselves that they could do better without me. Jettisoned by his bandmates in the summer of 1967, David freed himself from his contract by dispatching a letter to Columbia President Clive Davis that said, quote, "My music's all dried up. I don't have it anymore." In truth, he was about to enter the most inspired and prolific period in his life. In late 1967, on a trip to Florida, David walked into a club in Coconut Grove and became entranced by the pretty blonde singer on stage with an impossibly pure voice and songs of overwhelming poignancy, Joni Mitchell. The attraction was mutual. David had bought a scooter called the Mayan, and he and Joni spent days together on board, singing and making love. Musically, they were a match made in heaven. David was already experimenting with jazz chords, and Joni had been crafting her arcanum of non-standard tunings since learning the basic technique from folk singer Eric Anderson. Quote, "She had tunings that I hadn't heard, and I had ones that she hadn't heard," David says. "And it was obvious to me from the get-go that she was an unbelievably good writer. It was inspiring and intimidating to be around her." Joni and David flew back to LA together, where David produced her first album, Song to a Seagull, letting Joni's voice and guitar speak for itself. In turn, her music exerted its lunar pull on his imagination. Quote, "Everything was influenced by Joni after I met her," he says. "The melodies composed in late 1967 and early 1968 were of such uncanny beauty that Stephen Barnard, who would become the engineer for many of the Planet Earth Rock and Roll Orchestra sessions at Wally Heider's studio, called the whole batch a sky drop. Guinevere, Long Time Gone, Laughing, Song with No Words, Camel Pies High at About 3, The Wall Song, Games, and Kids and Dogs all took shape then, many of them composed while sailing on the Mayan. On March 28, 1968, David walked into a studio called Hollywood Recorders in LA and recorded a bunch of demos of these tunes, including this one, which didn't have words yet. David headed back to Florida, where Paul and Stephen Stills accompanied him and various girlfriends on sails on the Mayan, in between orgiastic acid trips, stone sing-alongs, and listening to, quote, the songs that the rigging makes, as Joni put it in her song about David, The Dawn Trapper, to have been a fly on the poop deck, so to speak. The three musicians set about turning David's melodic idea into a full song. Paul contributed the crucial line in the chorus, "Wooden ships on the water, very free." Stephen added the verse that begins, "Horror grips us as we watch you die." And David got the line, "If you smile at me, I will understand, because that is something everybody everywhere does in the same language," from a sign in front of the Baptist Church in Florida. Paul didn't get any credit when the song was recorded for the eponymous first Crosby, Stills, and Nash album, because he didn't want Jefferson Airplane's prestigious manager, Matthew Katz, interfering with the other guys getting publishing royalties. But Wooden Ships was very much the first PERRO song, though Paul wouldn't think up the phrase Planet Earth Rock and Roll Orchestra until later.